Okay, so I believe all our audience will be back shortly. The interested ones you can already see here. Thank you so much for joining us back. We come down to the very interesting panel, according to me. Something I'm really excited about is this topic: the future of customer experience, emerging trends in digital technology and marketing. So, basically, we will be talking about everything that is there in place already and maybe something that we would want from the future and more. So thank you to all our panelists for joining us. It's a pleasure to be moderating this session with such eminent panelists that we have over here. So thank you so much. Let us start with, the questions for the opening question for all of you, which is to be answered in a very short, brief, whatever comes to your mind first kind of way. Future of customer experience, what you would think about that, what you would want from that, or any general thoughts on the same. Starting from
Yeah, so I think this is a small retort. I think one future is not contained in the past. Whatever we have seen till now is not certainly necessarily going to continue. Future of customer experience, though we feel there will be AI and digital is already there, it will continue to rely on humans, and success will depend upon how we use AI to make the human stronger or the human touch relationship stronger, rather than there being no use case and pushing it down.
Great, sir. Over to you.
All right. First, I think thanks for having me on the panel. I think I would completely agree with my fellow panelists. I'm sure during the day, a lot of discussion would have happened on AI, generative AI, conversational AI, and everything AI. I think there is no doubt technology has been an enabler before AI as well. And I think the way we see at Unity Small Finance Bank or in general is we are at the very beginning of the curve of the whole AI piece that we are talking about. We are talking about AI in silos. I think a lot of companies look at AI as chatbot, voice bot, so on and so forth, right? I think things are only going to improve and enhance from here. But I think the view that we have taken internally is the way we look at AI, or when we look at customer experience, we want to do things by keeping the customer at the center, right? And then working backwards in saying whether we need AI and how much AI do we need and what other technologies do we need, whether it's AI or non-AI. I think what customers today want is simplicity. We have coined a term, ease of doing banking, right? If any process today at our end, a customer needs, say, 7 clicks, we want to see how we can do it in a single tap or a single click, right? That's effortless banking. So I think at the end of the day, it would be, how do we ensure that as a brand, you make things simple, effortless, and seamless for the customer? And more importantly, when we talk about customer experience, I think what has happened is we can divide the whole, the entire landscape into two parts, right? We have legacy organization and we have new age startups or platforms, right? What happens with legacy organizations, they have legacy systems, right? With that, it's difficult for those particular brands to leverage the data that we have, because whatever big talks that we do in terms of AI, it all boils down to how effectively you can use your own data. And with legacy organization, the challenge is the data sits in multiple siloed system, right? Then people are building another system on top of existing system so that data can talk to each other or systems can talk to each other. I think the real beauty would be how we can use and leverage this data that we have in a way where, I'm sure similar to where there's another term which is very loosely used in customer experience, which is omni-channel, right? And I'll give you a very simple example. Since I come from a bank, so I'll take that as an example. A customer walking into a branch, raising an issue about debit card, checkbook, passbook. And let's say if he's not happy with the answer or a response, he calls the contact center of a bank or he chats with a bank's chat bot, right? And if he has to explain everything all over again, I think that's where it's a disconnected experience. So I think the future is going to be an omni-channel experience, which is a true omni-channel experience and which is a connected experience and not a disjointed experience. So that is how I would summarize my input.
Got it. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Mahendra hit the nail on the head, right? I was just going to say the future of AI is omni-channel. It has to, customer experience cannot be different across different touch points. And I personally think what is the weakest link in this CX experience? Humans are, right? So we have to see if you're a completely digital channel, maybe fixing CX across all touch points might be, I'm not telling it's easy, might be possible. But if you're a large organization like a bank, right, which is dealing with 5, 10, 15,000 people, humans become the weakest link. And I think they have to be, because we are speaking of AI, they need more prompt engineering, right, to train them than the AI engines themselves.
Thank you for having us here. I think CX customer first approach has always been there, and that will not stop. The one thing that was a struggle or has been a struggle, which not so anymore, is the information around the customer. And today, because of all tools possible, since you know a lot about the customer, the future is just going to be an uneasy customer who would expect extremely fast transactions only for the point of view, only from the point of view that the customer's information is available with you or should have been available with you, and will make the whole the whole experience extremely fast paced.
I love how the way you elaborated it. So future is an uneasy customer who would want everything very fast, very efficiently, very quickly. And of course, the businesses right now are also striving to be the same. So coming on to the first question for Mr. Hari Shankar, sir. So how are insurance companies leveraging digital tools to enhance customer experience, especially in a traditionally complex industry like insurance, where we've seen for human touch more than the technology? When it comes to their own money, they are very different while reacting. Whereas it comes to food industry or any other industry, they're more.
Thank you so much. So no doubt, insurance industry is very old. I mean, like for example, the insurer that I work with, it was almost 195 years old, Generali. So, and others even older than that. Evolution is very important, but what we see is they have been there. There is a requirement for that. People want to feel safe. They want to feel secure. Now, if that is the genesis of what you design for the customer, then you are able to do something which is useful and not something which is just fancy, something which you are fathoming. So I talked earlier about the human being at the center of this, and that is how in India the earlier and the largest spread insurers like LIC or the public insurance companies have such a footfall because they have worked with people. I mean, technologies come there just to support. So while digital first and buying directly from online app or such things is there, and it has made some inroad there, people typically research online and then want a human being or a neck to catch when they have those service needs. So they want that reliable agent. So we have worked on using enable our partners to be able to do business better. Now that has taken various forms like portal from which they can issue the policy, portal from which they can manage their entire portfolio, receive the entire service. So they are essentially our first customer, and then they go on to serve the actual customers, the last in the mile. Then secondly, also while we are doing this digital paperless business through various API integrations, be it with the dealer, be it with the aggregators also, there are other interventions which have come through. Like for example, if someone's car had a break in insurance and it needs to be inspected, so gone are the days of a physical person needing to go there and to do the survey. It can be a link or a app based thing, and you can get the customer to self inspect and share how it looks like and if it is insurable or not there. Customer servicing and claim is also experiencing that moment. So initially when the insurers set out, the claim registration was either through the paper or through the call center. And that is where the intervention of the automation, the portals, and the bots has come in. And I think we are not the only unique one, but everyone has ventured into that and has been able to do that. But interesting is when in that claim settlement, you can do fraud detection by knowing the repository of the likely claims. So, say if 10% claims have a risk, how does it help your remaining 90% customers? Because you know that these do not have that risk, you are able to put them into the fast lane and serve them better. So that is again enabling you to do that. And finally, communication. We were talking about omni-channel, and we see the new modes, that is Meta. I mean, WhatsApp is the preferred mode which everyone is taking, but it's not only about WhatsApp, but what modes you communicate over there. So how interesting can be your communication over there? Can you customize it, put a flavor of AI where the communication which goes actually addresses the customer by their name and shares some personal traits which catches the eye of the customer, and the call to action is stronger, be it servicing or be it for the next best course of action that you're wanting to pitch.
Great, sir. Thank you so much. So, my next question is to Mahendra, Bindra, sir. So, how are small finance banks and performing while adapting to customers' changing expectations regarding convenience and personalization? And what kind of expectations are you realistically having, in which you feel that more and more deployment of technology is required more than human intervention, probably, or such examples if you can share?
All right. So I think just a quick one. Why did RBI came up with this whole small finance bank, right? I think uh, I'm sure lot of people, folks are over here are aware that any small finance bank, 75% of the book of any small finance bank, not just us, has to be PSL, which is priority sector lending, right? What RBI observed few years back is the top 4 private banks, or even some of the very big PSUs, they are addressing the urban and the semi-urban market, and they wanted the underserved and unserved, the tier 3, the tier 4, the small villages, right? India is a country of villages, not cities, right? They wanted that, right? So just wanted to give that context first, and I'll come in terms of a bank. I think for any bank, right, the typical boardroom discussions across India, and to an extent across globally, is that banking has become a commodity now, right? You go to bank A, it gives you a fixed deposit rate anywhere from 6% to 8.5%, 9%, or you go to bank B, a difference of 0.5 or 1%. When you try and go for a home loan or a two-wheeler loan or a car loan, you see the difference is only 0.25 to 0.5. There is no difference where you will find a bank giving you a home loan at 4% and somebody would give you at 25%. Gone are the days, right? So with that being said, what would be the differentiator between two banks or any bank? It is going to be the service experience. It is going to be the customer experience. So I think the boardroom discussions are very, very clear that if any bank has to gain market share and grow sustainably, the focus has to be on service experience. Now, for a bank, it's a very great example of a phygital model, right? In India, any bank that you take, you have physical branches where the customer gets the service or the experience, because there are certain things you can't do digitally. For example, if we have any one of us have a locker in a bank, you can't go and operate a locker digitally. You have to visit a branch physically, right? Similarly, a gold loan, you can't do it digitally. You need to go ahead and have a physical visit to a branch. So I think it's a perfect example or an industry where any brand or the bank has to ensure that when they are doing the whole customer experience orchestration, they have to look at phygital model where the experience across digital platforms and the physical experience at the branches are seamless, and uh, the customer should not feel at the end of the day that the bank is doing a great job at a branch but doesn't do a great job on the digital front, or vice versa. Number one, I think sir also covered that technology is an enabler. I think what is really, really important for banking as an industry is what's happening going on is thanks to the equity market on a boil. uh, the immediate challenge that the banking industry is facing is a liquidity challenge, right? The credit offtake is happening because there is a lot of action on private investment and government investment. But what's not happening on the other side is, gone are the days where our parents used to keep money in fixed deposits and savings account. Now everybody wants to say mutual fund sahi hai, and everybody wants to overnight double the money or triple the money in stock market. Because whether you go to Instagram or you go to YouTube, you have those zero the screenshots coming that overnight I've got 100%, overnight I've got 50% jump in my portfolio, right? So I think these are immediate challenges for the banking industry. And I think what we require, I think what we see happening in the future is more and more and more focus on experience. And there is going to be some disruption to make sure that this whole flight of money which is happening from banking industry to the equity market, how do we kind of arrest that flight that's happening? And to be very honest, bankers are waiting for the stock market crash to happen, because there is an anticipation, if that happens, the money will come back to the banking channels.
Very interesting, sir. Thank you so much. So, coming on to Mr. Bhattacharya, sir, PayU has been at the forefront of adopting technologies ever since. Um, uh, Predicting and providing the digital prioritizing customer experience journey has been what I have seen and read has been even before, since generative AI and AI ML technologies were in place. So how has as digital marketing evolves, what role do you feel hyper personalization has in your kind of organization? Would it be a beneficial thing to have hyper personalization, or should it be just limited till personalization and then offer some options to the clients as well for experimenting with different aspects as well? What are your thoughts on the same?
So there is no right answer to that. That's a difficult question, right? So if you just ask me what's hyper personalization, I would say कि यार कोई भी जाके Google कर लो, AI से पता चल जाएगा, right? But I would want to oversimplify it, right? Personalization or hyper personalization. How I want to oversimplify is it? First, it was, as marketeer, it was right customer, right place, right time, and that was it. With hyper personalization, the first set still remains the same, right? You do not need to redo the basics, right? What you just add to it is a right product and a right message to sell the product. That's hyper personalization. Some people might even call it contextual targeting. So it doesn't end there. So as a digital marketer, no. So when I was doing campaigns, so apart, any Game of Thrones fans here? Yeah, a few of them, right? So if I had if I was working for a maybe a wearable company, right, and it was winter, right? So maybe my social media customer or manager would come up to me and say कि एक बहुत बढ़िया लाइन मिला है, winter is coming, right? तो I would just replicate it, और जो भी cohort है मेरा TG है उसको I would just show कि hey, this is the jacket, buy it, whatever it is. Now how it is evolved, now I have to show what is the style a customer needs, right? What is the size he usually wears? What is the color may be what he likes? So that is now contextualizing or hyper personalizing, however you want it. It is there. Now, what might be the next step to it is a customer is ready to choose whatever he wants to choose, right? But then there's suggestive. Maybe this would work better. Maybe this would look better. One of the largest apparel companies, right, are already doing it. If you add a size, right, which you don't usually buy, they will suggest that this is the usual, you usually buy a XL. For me, they would say you are being very ambitious trying to fit into a L, right? So that's kind of hyper personalization, that kind of contextual advertising, which is good, right? But from a financial angle, from whatever angle, hyper personalization or CX, right? is not always outwards looking. Sometimes it is inwards looking. Sometimes it is saving people, right, from risks that they don't know exist. So in a financial, maybe in a bank, right, maybe in a payment processor, there are AI ML models, right? There are personalization models which are built on how Mahindra operates, right? Whenever you're seeing he is not operating in the usual way he operates, that is when you get the call. Have you met this transaction, right? Or have you tried to shop here? Or are you there in Germany trying to buy something dubious, right? So it is not only personalization from the front end, right, where it is the customer can see, feel, experience it, but sometimes it is also safeguarding their money, their experience, their trust, right, which hyper personalization through digital marketing can help.
Thank you so much, sir. So, my next question is to Mr. Hitesh. So, sir, since the time when we did not have predictive technologies and now that we do, how has the customer expectations changed in the recent years? If you can help us understand a little bit on that, and what kind of challenges has this imposed to the business, or the benefits have this has?
Sure. I mean, what does AI or predictive AI or all of this help us with? It helps us with the know-how of what to do. I mean, you already know that you have a product and you would want B, a market to sell it. But when this wasn't there, you wouldn't know where to sell it. So you would, for retail, you would know that, okay, this is a place where, say, for example, there's a jewelry market. You would by default want a store over there and open it. But if you're through all the retail markets and if you want to open a new store somewhere, how would you do it? You would latch on to programmatic, you would create some sessions online, and you would want to know where is the demand. So based on based on campaigns that you run now, you know what to do next. Back in the day, the challenges were far and few between how to approach the customer, demand generation, and eventually where to be located, which is a problem which is solved right now. There is enough and more information available about browsers who are browsing your product, which gives you more and more reasons to be physically present in that location. Uh, your targeting can be as micro to maybe a lane. You can target a particular segment. Your cohorts can be actually defined to the smallest detail. These are things that weren't there in the past. In the past, you would do those 3, 4, 5 BTL activities and hope that you've done it in the right way. You were at the mercy of the newspaper guy who would insert the flyer in the newspaper, and if he wouldn't, you wouldn't know. Or you would have someone waking up at 3 in the morning, being there at the depot at 4 in the morning, and ensuring that those 20,000 inserts are going right on time. I think that has saved a lot of people some sleep. It has also saved a lot of people some time. Um, I think for the last 7 to 8 years, the way programmatic marketing has shaped the overall experience. I come from an omni-channel company, so the and we like to call ourselves digital first. So the way the way an omni-channel digital first company creates demand, then ensures that there is acquisition done via Google, remarketing done via Facebook, and eventually transactions happen either online or on store or at home at the customer's house. All of these things were extremely difficult in the past. You would have to be today also you're on the mercy of, say, a Meta or a Google, but you would have to be on the mercy of a piece of paper that you wouldn't know reach where, and eventually end up with the bhelpuri vendor, or spend maybe a lot to be visible on a TV screen or a hoarding. Those things still work, but I think life has just become simple or simpler from what it was and where it was.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much. So, while we're talking about entire customer experience and the customer journey being more seamless, more smooth, and more efficient, I would take the same question from all of you to have your views or your industry specific views. That what kind of gaps do you feel exist still? And that you are having issues with, that you would like in future to be solved, to have a more better future for the customer experience sector. So starting from Mr. Hari, sir.
Thank you. One is, I mean, you know the visible gaps and some things which you may not know but are still needed. So, I mean, to predict the future is very difficult. I'm not Da Vinci that can predict for 100 years what will come, but maybe looking at near future, if I was to say some things which have started and which are likely to go bigger because they are happening in other marketplaces. One, certainly the Internet of Things, I think, will expand further. People have the products, they have not picked up the pay as you drive. Many insurers have tried that. On the health segment, the moment the health data of all the people starts coming in one place, the hospitals are not integrated. But I know from friends in the healthcare industry that that is also being worked upon. And when that data gets integrated, then being able to give insurance customized to the customer would be better. For that time, again, as a stopgap, the Internet of Things, the wellness or the benefits according to that would be given. So that is on the product side fulfillment. Service and support, of course, the generative AI, which is now at a nascent stage, will pick up further. It's not only about the bots which are giving text servicing on the WhatsApp or on the web chat or the app or the call center where they are doing mundane registration activities also, but for better need identification and better product comparison. Well, they will aggregate data across various insurers and provide a better understanding of what could be picked up over there. And interestingly, in insurance, the regulator, which also is the development authority, realizes that, and they are trying to create the UPI moment of insurance through Bima Sugam, which will be the unified marketplace, unified service place, where all these things can be combined over there. So that is one side. And then in terms of gap fulfillment, I think while the retail side will be there, the coverage from agencies like governmental agencies or corporate agencies like insurance coming into your life without you knowing or having bought it, but getting the service experience will also continue. Like a couple of days back, all the senior citizens above 70 years got covered the health cover as the regulation has been passed. So such moments will continue because India still needs such things where elsewhere in the world, in the developed markets, we already have those coverages. So technologies will also evolve around that, how to give that service better.
I think if I understood the question, what are the current gaps and what's the future looking like? I think if you look at banking as a space in India, I think the first gap in customer experience is a seamless omni-channel customer support in a phygital world, right? There are still gaps, and I think AI and other technologies will definitely help us to fill in those gaps. Uh, the second piece is more around data and data analytics, right? What does a bank does? It takes deposit, it gives loans, right? In a most oversimplified form. The credit underwriting which is happening, and there's a lot of data analytics and models which are built. I think with the help of structured data which the bank has and a lot of unstructured data which the bank can source or the banking ecosystem can source from outside, the models are only going to get better and better and better. I think there is a gap because you see at times you hear in the news that the banking industry has the lowest NPAs for the quarter, for the year, and suddenly after 2 quarters those NPAs goes up very very high. So I think the predictability which is there to an extent will only help improve once we have lot more refined models happening. I think the other thing which bank can do, and thankfully bank has a lot of customer data because every customer you have the KYC details, you have transaction details. I think more and more better personalization and contextualization of the data and how can we mine that data and give better service as well as offers, and be at the right time at the right place for the customer will only improve as we move forward. And the last piece would be, I think it's more internal for the banks, right? I think uh, the way we see is a lot of banks have built systems one on top of the another. There is no system which is an end-to-end system for a specific use case. I think as we move forward, I think there is a need for systems and solutions which are end-to-end and not developed on a piecemeal basis, because there are 10 different projects running in a bank and all 10 are going in different directions. So I think these are the 3-4 things I foresee from a banking space.
I'll take a philosophical route to this, right? Though being from the business of finance, right? So people say that currently we are not in the business of money. We are in the business of trust. So that is the most important thing. If you look at people today, if you look at our generation, if you even look at the younger generation, right? So first, authority was equal to trust. It's not that anymore. It is, are my values being what to say replicated in the brands I consume? That is fostering more trust slash love, whatever you call it, right? Now, going back to the gaps, there are actually no gaps in customer experience, right? The gap is actually in customer expectation versus product delivery, right? So that is the point. So you have to identify for survival, not for growth, customer expectation gaps and plug those. And then there will be again a second set of companies will come up with something or a gap or a need which the customer didn't know. Those are going to be the flag bearers into the next century, so to say. So I'll just end with an example. Right, Friday evening. So I go maybe into a bar. Somebody says, "Hello, sir." That's great for me. I feel nice, right? Then what if I walk in and he says, "Okay, hi Argho," or "Hello, Mr. Bhattacharya." I feel more valued, right? Okay, that guy remembers my name, right? Now, what if I walk into the same place and he says, "Hi, Argo, welcome back. We have your usual seat reserved, and would that be the usual drink for you?" That is hyper personalization, and that feels me, yes, I want to be back there again, again, and again. But to achieve that in a physical world, right, you would at least need a attentive, what to say, steward and at least 10 visits, right? But today's customer expects that within 10 seconds, right? And that is what AI or hyper personalization has to achieve for you. Okay, you as a customer walk in as a financial product, like he told, multiple information through KYC. They know, they want us as companies, financial companies, to know them, not decide for them, know them. So that is the hyper personalization. Because going back to the bar, maybe I like my scotch and soda, right? But today I'm in not a mood for it. I can always revert back to a chilled beer. So having an option, having a choice, but shown the options is what the future is about.
I completely agree. The gap is between the expectation and and the experience. Um what what I would like to add here is that the adoption, rather the expansion of good practices, is something that lacks scale right now. And if that is scaled, uh, just to add to his point, I think we all have used the DigiYatra app. That is CX and convenience. I think you don't have that across the globe. India has had it before the others, right? Uh, Based on that, a couple of bus providers launched a similar service where you know that a particular bus is going to be reaching at a particular junction destination, which is where the stop is, and you can get in, and before you get in, your seat is booked. Uh, that is taking DigiYatra to the next level. Uh, but I think I don't have any more examples of such cases. So, what next? is basically the widespread adoption of good practices for CX.
Thank you so much. With that, we come down to the end of this very insightful discussion. Thank you so much to all our esteemed panelists for joining us. We learned so many different aspects around this subject today. And for presenting a token of gratitude on behalf of Elets Technomedia.